as far as it relates to the a broken woman, if she's broken in a relationship, what does that look like? Like, how do you identify brokenness, especially if it's related to still being attached and not being fixed from old relationships while you in one, especially while you in one?
How do you identify brokenness when stuff don't work? Think about if you have a technological device, a computer or something like that. If you press a button and that input don't produce the right output, that's a sign something's wrong. So if I give you a compliment, the compliment should produce a level of appreciation, adoration, right? Celebration. So if I say, baby, you look good, if I put the input in and the output is what you trying to say, something ain't right. Something is broken, right? If I'm trying to express intimacy and I'm like, babe, what you doing today? Or, man, you know, I miss you. What's going on? Why you miss me? That's a sign something's broken. You know what I mean? So when stuff don't work right, when stuff don't talk right, when stuff don't act right, it's usually a sign that something is broken, right? Think about triggers. What we don't see is the bruises on a person's soul. We don't see how many men done trampled over her. And the same with men, how many women done trampled over him. How many women done used him for his sex, for his money, for his status, for his notoriety, for his car, for whatever. And how many women been used for their body or for their house or for their money or whatever the case may be. When you do that to a person, you bruise their soul. So now all of a sudden you get with them and you don't know that. You don't know why when you hug them, ouch. I'm not talking about physically they say ouch, but there's a level of distrust.
Right.
If there's that distrust, something's broken. If there's a guard up, something's broken. If there's a lack of communication, something's broken. So that's usually how you tell that something's broken.
Damn, Jay, I don't know if there's much we can add to that.
Yeah, I think he said it pretty damn good. You know what I mean?
He hit the nail right on the head with them. I've never even thought of it that way.
I was looking for something I could push back on, but I was like, damn, he ain't give me nothing. So I was like, look, he got it, man.
Does anybody want to add anything to it?
I mean, I'm so familiar with what he's talking about that I could say that I've dealt with quite a few dysfunctional women on my journey, and I could understand. One thing that I've learned is I don't trust people who don't trust people, because when they think you're up to something, they are going to be a problem. They're going to do things to you just proactively. So when you this input thing that he mentioned, man, when you get somebody a compliment and they're like, what you mean by that? I'm like, damn. You know, like some people, it's just crazy. Sometimes you just got to walk on eggshells and all that. Man, that could be a mental toll on you like you wouldn't believe. It's best to stay away from people like that, because it really ain't no working on them, or unless you really want to fight that uphill battle, you can do that if you want to, but that ain't for me. And I've learned the hard way, because a lot of times I've made the mistake of trying to see the best in people and giving people the benefit of the doubt when they were only worth the doubt of the benefit. I made a lot of mistakes with that. So yeah, that kind of hit home, man. Like, just it brought me back. It gave me some flashbacks of just some really toxic people who is not even worth the effort, to be honest. Like, I would encourage anyone who's, if they're that far gone, if you really like them, just give them some time to breathe. And if they come back to you better, that's another thing. But unless you are a professional, don't try to work it out with people like that. Do not try to work on people like that, because it's not going to be worth it. Because sometimes they'll be so damaged. That's what I'm thinking about when he says broken, right? Something happened to them, right? It could have been some trauma that was never addressed, and they're going to just bring that to you because some things happen to them. So they just look at people in a negative light, and they're going to feel like you're always trying to get them, and it's not worth it.
When I think about like vetting and discernment, that's what these things come to mind. Like, this is essentially what that is. What's interesting though about this, and it's kind of like a travesty of life, that the people who possibly can help you heal from all of this stuff and get to a position where you're feeling better and to heal some of that brokenness also had a skill set to avoid and usually end up with the least broken people. And the people who do not have the skill set to avoid it also don't have the skill set to help you fix it. So it's just going to be a toxic ass relationship. It's weird like that. It's like when you get rich, you get everything for free. But when you really need it, you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Marcus, do you ever realize, right, or anybody, does anybody realize, like, bringing it back to the the first topic, that the most toxic people have the best McLovin on the planet? Or is it just me, or is that like a real thing?
It's real.
I don't think that's real. I think we.
You don't think
Some truth to it.
I think we be making excuses, bro. You just
that's been my experience, man. Like when I'm running into one of them ones that, I don't want to use the word crazy, but just those different people. It's a different animal. I could see why some people have that attachment to sometimes those toxic people.
Do you think it's because they lack like that level of inhibition that may give them pause?
Yeah, there's no inhibition. There's no boundaries. There's no no's. Yeah, none of that. Yeah.
I think the other thing is, especially with women, their emotional state is linked to, how they perform or how they feel about the sex and the inhibitions. And if you, like, some people will use that as a band, like some women actually use sex as a band-aid too. So it allows them to hit their peak emotional state so they can be extremely wet based off of how they feeling about whatever is going on. It's why makeup sex is great. And it's also why like deep, intimate connection sex is great. So just as good as something extremely toxic can be, you can make something extremely non-toxic that way too. But you're gonna have to master intimacy in order to get it there.
No, I agree 1,000%. I think the key word for this, again, what Marcus said, the key word primarily is discernment, and discernment and having discernment is a huge, it's a huge flex, honestly. Like, I shouldn't say flex, cheat code. It's a huge cheat code. So you understand the type of people that you're around and what you're dealing with. Identifying brokenness in relationships and in women especially. I would say some of the bigger red flags I see, one is leading with their sexual energy, like leading with that. Someone who can't ever be alone, can never be by themselves ever. Also somebody who, they always have somebody around at all times. Somebody who can't make friends. Like, really has a difficult time, not just making friends, but keeping them. Especially women. Women usually always have a few good girlfriends around, this and that, that keep them, I don't want to say accountable, but they always keep a good little crew with them. And if you can never get along with anybody, or you're always beefing with somebody, or you're always falling off with people all the time, those are definite red flags. There's something in your personality, there's something that's inside you that you can't make peace with people. Also, someone that's always argumentative, and someone that's always looking at the glass half empty. If you have more of a pessimistic mentality to life, and viewpoint to everything, kind of like what Trev was saying, like, there's always like, what do you mean by that? By any comment that's being said? Like, what's your problem? What does that mean? I need you to get, be more specific all the time. Those are certain things you gotta look out for. Those are just little signs. Those are little red flags that, fellas, you need to be aware of, take note of. And if she's, again, leading with the bedroom stuff and that's it, I mean, there might be some other daddy issues there, some other traumas that are there. And if you're not a licensed, psychologist or anybody like that, I highly suggest you just walk away, especially if you can identify it and you know yourself best and you know what sets you off or what your boundaries are and your levels are. You should go the other direction.